Anda semua belum pernah mengalami ini. Pilihlah A kalau pernyataan A benar, pernyataan B benar, dan keduanya menunjukkan hubungan sebab akibat. Pernah mendapatkan tes kayak gitu?
Iya,
Pilihlah B
Bapak.
kalau 1 benar dan 3 benar. Nah,
Iya,
pilihlah
pernah, Bapak.
C kalau 2 dan 4 saja yang benar. Pernah mendapati begitu?
Pernah.
Pernah, Pak.
Pernah,
Nah,
Bapak.
itulah tetap pilihan ganda versi yang asosiasi pilihan ganda itu. Oke, this is objective. What is meant by objective? Apa kira-kira? Apa yang dimaksud dengan objektif? Silakan.
Only one answer, Bapak.
Oke, it is only one answer. Atau you may define, it is objective whenever the test can be scored by different scorer and the result might be the same. Itu kuncinya itu. Jadi tes itu dikatakan objektif kalau bisa diskor oleh siapapun, bahkan mesin pun bisa men-score dan hasilnya sama. Karena sama apa? Because the answer is only a single answer. Okay. On the other way around, it might be non-objective. Kebalikannya, whenever it is scored by different scorer and the result is different. Kalau tes itu diskor oleh orang yang berbeda, skornya sama, skornya berbeda, itulah namanya non-objective, or we can say subjective type. It might be completion, isian, short answer, or maybe essay. Itu kalau tes yang non-objektif atau subjektif itu. Nanti akan ada pembicaraan, we have special discussion about the type of the test. But today, it is enough to say that the evaluation, one of them can be done by test based on our teaching indicator and also teaching objective. In addition to using the test, we can also use non-test. Tadi itu, apakah penilaian sikap, penilaian proyek, portofolio, unjuk kerja atau performan, menilai seseorang itu berdasarkan produknya, penilaian diri sendiri, atau peer assessment, penilaian teman sebaya. Oke. All of them must be based on the teaching objective along with the teaching indicator. Okay. This is the point we have to discuss for the first time. All right. Now, in our subject, mata kuliah kita, we are not talking about non-test. What we are going to do throughout one semester, we try to discuss only a test. Ya, jadi dalam dunia pendidikan memang ini ada dua ini, tes dan non-tes. Tapi sekali lagi, language testing development mata kuliah kita, we try to focus on how to develop a test. Itu riwayatnya. Jadi logika berpikirnya secara umum tadi itu. In educational setting, the evaluation and also assessment have several purposes. Whatever the purposes are, we need the instrument. Kita memerlukan instrumen. Instrument in the educational setting might be two, that is the test and non-test. A test or non-test will be used, it depend on the teaching objective along with the teaching indicator. Itu riwayatnya, alur pikirnya begitu untuk memahaminya. Then, our course, spesifik untuk mata kuliah kita ini, we are talking about development of the test. It is a tool, instrument for the assessment purposes. A test as the tool, a test as instrument for our assessment purposes. Nih, jadi nanti kita nggak ngomong portofolio, kita nggak akan membuat project, kita nggak akan membuat yang lain, kecuali membuat bagian yang atas ini. We try to develop a test, whether your test is objective or whether your test is subjective. It depends on your preference. Suka mana Anda nanti? Apakah mau mengembangkan tes objektif atau tes yang non-objektif? We are not talking about this. Oke. Bisa dipahami ini logika berpikirnya? Oke. Alright. Now, the second, after knowing the position of the chords, then in language teaching, what are the approaches to language testing? Kalau kita bicara testing, in the language areas, what are the approaches of testing them? Okay. When we are following the theory confronted by Hitton's book, that is, you can find in Hitton's book, it is confronted by Hitton. There are at least 4 different approaches in language testing. Starting from the ancient one, leading to the most modern one. Jadi pendekatan testing itu yang kiranya agak jadul dulu sampai yang relatif modern sekarang ini. Ada 4 pendekatan cara kita mengetes. The first is called essay translation approach. The second is structuralist approach, integrative approach, and communicative approach. You may read this in Hitton's book quite clearly what it is. Every approach here, what it is. What should we do when we are dealing with essay translation? What are the structuralist approach, integrative approach, and communicative approach? Right. And then in his book, Hitton presented a very clear example for every approaches there. The test based on essay translation, a test based on the structuralist approach, integrative approach, and communicative approach. So I like reading the Hitton book because of this reason. The presentation of ideas is quite well organized and we can follow quite easily. So once again, for the understanding related to the theory of the language approaches, I do hope you extend your activities to the reading of the book from Hitton. Okay. All right. Let's discuss one by one. What is the approach? Apa masing-masing itu? This is the summary. This is the summary of the approaches. Essay translation approach. Okay. Okay. Right. This is the expression. Whenever we try to trace back to the time when it is released, the essay translation approach here belong to pre-scientific stage of language testing. Munculnya, lahirnya mungkin sebelum pendekatan tes yang scientific. Bisa dikategorikan pre-scientific, belum sepenuhnya scientific. Nah, mengapa it is pre-scientific? Why is it pre-scientific? Because no specific skill is required. No specific skill is measured. Jadi tes essay translation approach itu cara mengeteskan bahasa dengan menyuruh orang untuk apa kira-kira? Oke, essay translation approach is approach asking the testee, asking the learners to what?
To translate.
To translate, betul ya?
Yeah.
From
to
the name, ya.
Analyze
Based
the
on the
grammar.
Okay.
To analyze the grammar.
Essay translation approach, asking the student to translate from the first into the second language or from the
Yeah.
second language into the first language. And then essay.
To ana-
To what? Okay. Okay, this one. Okay. To test the language, the test consists of the essay translation
Right.
and also writing the essay, translation, and also grammatical analysis. So the activities of the test, whatever the language teaching approach is followed, for example, whenever we are testing, we are asking the student in order to write, in order to translate, in order to analyze grammar. This is the three aspects of the areas, the three aspect or the areas of the essay translation approach. So we can say whenever we are following essay translation approach, the teacher as a tester should have the activity of writing, asking the student to write, activity of translation, asking the student to translate from the first into the second, and analyzing the grammatical aspect of the language. This is the essence. So someone can be classified into a good language learner or not good language learner. It depend on his ability to translate, depend on his ability to write, and depend on his ability of analyzing the grammatical aspect. This is the essay translation approach. Okay. And then, question please, ada pertanyaan? Yeah,
Not yet, sir. Not yet, sir.
about the essay translation. And then let's go on. The structuralist approach. Okay. The second is about the structuralist approach. What is called by structuralist approach here is not identical with structure or grammar. No. It is not identical with that. What is meant by structuralist approach here is this. It is based on the assumption that the language is a set of habit. Ini pendekatan yang mempercayai bahwasanya bahasa itu adalah seperangkat kebiasaan. Ini teorinya B.F. Skinner itu, lewat audiolingual method. Mungkin Budini ngajari Anda ini. In teaching learning strategy, language teaching and learning strategy, we have several methods of teaching. One of them is grammar translation approach. GTM, grammar translation approach. And then audiolingual method, direct method, oral approach, communicative approach, dan sebagainya itu. Itu pembelajaran bahasa. Now we have testing approach. Testing approach number 2 here is structuralist. The structuralist believe that the language is a set of habit. Orang yang percaya atau yang mengikuti structuralist approach dalam dunia testing ini menganggap bahasa itu adalah seperangkat kebiasaan. Because it is structured. Because language is structured. Karena bahasa itu tersusun oleh apa? From the language is structured from the phonology, vocabulary, grammar, and so on. Then they are separate element and they can be combined, they can be presented in a language. In other words, phonology, vocabulary, grammar, and so on, one by one makes up a language. Jadi unsur-unsur bahasa itu terbentuk, tersusun, terstruktur dari elemen-elemen khusus, yaitu yang namanya fonologi, vocab, grammar, dan yang lainnya. Kemudian semuanya kalau digabungkan akan membentuk bahasa. That is called by structuralist approach. That the language comprised of several elements. each of the element together makes up a language. Itu maknanya structuralist. Because element can stand alone, then the element can be mastered separately and can be tested individually. Because the language consists of every element here can be separately given and then separately tested. Jadi setiap elemen itu yang membentuk bahasa bisa diajarkan, bisa dikuasai secara terpisah-pisah, dan bisa diteskannya pun secara terpisah-pisah. Artinya terpisah lepas dari konteks kalimat. So the every element, whether it is grammar or maybe vocabulary and so on, they all are given and mastered by the student, and the student can be tested in order to see the mastery of every element here separately, in isolation. It means away from any context. It is divorced from the context. Bahasanya language-nya adalah divorced from any context, bercerai, terlepas dari konteksnya. Nah, itu. Jadi setiap grammar, vocab atau yang lain bisa diajarkan sendiri-sendiri dan bisa diteskan secara sendiri-sendiri. So speaking, reading, listening, writing are separated. Gambarnya semacam ini. Gambarannya semacam ini. The illustrations of the structuralist approach is this. Speaking, writing, listening, reading, all separate elements, stand alone, and they make up the language. Seperti itu. Oke. Jadi Anda bisa mengeteskan speaking sendiri, writing sendiri, listening sendiri, reading sendiri, secara terpisah. Itulah structuralist approach. Ada pertanyaan? Pemahaman tentang ini? Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
I want to ask about the approach to language testing, especially the essay translation approach. What is the difference between grammar translation approach and essay translation approach in language testing? Because I think these two approaches are the same, maybe, sir.
Okay. Grammar translation approach, or you can say GTM. Kadang-kadang disempat ditulis dengan GTM, grammar translation approach, is the approach of teaching language. Bukan testing loh ya. Approach of teaching language. Teaching by what? How do we teach? Bagaimana kita mengajar? That is teaching how to translate and how to master grammar. Okay. This one, it is almost similar to the testing. Whenever you have a test, you can have what is called by essay translation approach. That is the way to test by asking the student to translate and to write the essay. If the GTM, kalau dalam dunia pengajaran, mengajarnya pakai grammar translation approach, meaning you are teaching grammar and you are teaching the translation. This is the approach of teaching. So the whole activities of the teaching, according to the name here, teaching a lot how to translate from the first into the second language or the other way around, from the second into the target language. Okay. Then the activities and other activities is the discussion about the grammar. When they are conducted together, it is by what is here following what is called by a grammar translation approach. Then in the testing, you are not dealing with grammar translation approach, but the name is dealing with essay translation approach. That is asking the student in order to write the essay, to apply the knowledge of grammar learned during the GTM. And then the way of testing is writing the essay in the form of writing. And then analyzing grammar by using contrastive analysis and so on. That is the similarity and also the difference. So the term of the two almost the same. That is using translation for both, because the activities is always the same in both sides. In the teaching approach, we are teaching translation. In testing approach, we are testing translation. And then the difference is that in teaching, we are teaching grammar a lot. That is about the element of the grammar. But in testing here, grammar is not what is here tested through grammar alone, but we are testing, asking the student using essay writing, asking the student to write composition. Jadi sebetulnya ini ada kemiripan dan hubungan itu. Kalau Anda mengajarnya grammar translation approach, the way to test is of course will be valid whenever you are doing the essay translation approach. Kalau mengajarnya mengajari terjemahan dan pembahasan soal grammar, maka tesnya pun juga harus essay translation approach. Jangan sampai mengajarnya pakai translation, nanti ngetesnya pakai komunikatif. Nah, ini sesuatu hal yang tidak valid dari aspek construct validity-nya. Nanti akan kita bahas macam itu. Okay, that is the answer of the difference between GTM, the method of teaching, metodologi pengajaran, and the essay translation approach in testing. Ya, Oke, Mas, siapa tadi yang tanya?
Mas Andi, sir. Thank
Mas
you.
Andi.
Yeah.
Can you get the point, Mas Andi?
Ya, sir.
Can you get the point of my explanation?
I think untuk mengajar gimana ya? Untuk mengajarkan kayak grammar itu kan lebih khusus. Grammar translation approach itu kan terkhusus untuk pengajaran grammar. Sementara untuk essay translation approach ini lebih ke apa ya? Kayak apa ya bahasanya? Dalam skala umum gitu. Baik itu dalam
Begini, Mas Andi. Grammar translation approach itu cara mengajarnya. Nah, kemudian mengeteskannya setelah diajar pakai grammar translation itu, mengeteskannya, mengukur keberhasilan pengajaran itu pakai essay translation approach. Itu saja bedanya. So, whenever you are teaching following GTM, grammar translation method, ajarilah siswa grammar, latihan-latihan grammar, dan latihan-latihan menerjemahkan. Oke, itu pengajarannya. Kemudian ketika mengeteskan, ada istilah essay translation approach. Pengetahuan grammar tadi itu yang diajarkan tadi, silahkan dites, dibuktikan dengan apa? Dengan essay, dengan menulis. Gitu loh, Mas. Paham ini?
Yes, sir.
Ya, jadi I think it is a slight different in the areas of testing and the areas of teaching. Whenever you are teaching, give them a lot of exercises of grammar and translation. Whenever you are measuring the teaching, please apply essay translation approach. It means the knowledge of grammar is measured whether or not they are mastering the theory of grammar as given in the teaching learning process. Jadi pengajaran grammar tadi itu dibuktikan, diukur ketika mengetes itu. Alat ukurnya apa? Suruh siswa menulis. Itu loh maksudnya, ya. Jadi kalau itu grammar translation method sebagai metode pengajaran, mengetesnya jangan suruh siswa bicara, gitu loh maksudnya itu. Kemampuannya itu disuruh siswa menerjemahkan dan menulis. Paham, Mas Adi?
Paham, sir. Paham.
Okay, good. Alright, any other questions? Okay. If you have no questions, let's try to go on. The structuralist approach here, sometimes there's something related, there's some weaknesses related to the reliability and objectivity of the test. In terms of reliability here, sometimes it is very high. I think the concept of reliability and objectivity should not be discussed now. But let me strengthen your understanding. Whenever you are following structuralist approach for testing, usually the form of the test are in the form of multiple choice item. So the proponents itu pendukung maksud saya, orang-orang yang suka menggunakan cara pendekatan tes structuralist itu biasanya memilih bentuk tesnya dalam bentuk multiple choice. Itu umumnya. So, multiple choice test is preferable whenever someone is following structuralist approach. Pertanyaan saya, mengapa ya? Kira-kira apa yang menyebabkan orang proponen itu, all the people who like using structuralist approach here, develop a test in the form of multiple choice item. What can you guess? Apa kira-kira tebakan Anda? Oke.
Karena tesnya terpisah-pisah. Tadi kan
Bagus.
disebutkan kalau divorce
Ah,
divorce
good.
language. Tuh.
That is the correct answer. Yeah, exactly correct. Why multiple choice is preferable for someone who follows structuralist approach? Because the structuralist approach believe that the language can be separated element by element. Itu alasannya. Jadi betul-betul langsung menemak jawaban itu. They like using multiple choice item because every language element can be tested separately. Bisa diteskan secara terpisah. That is the reason behind the use of multiple choice in a structuralist approach. Okay. I think it will be different from the integrative approach and also communicative approach later on. Oke, thank you. Siapa tadi yang jawab?
Nuraini.
Okay, thank you, Nuraini. Your answer is very, precisely correct. Okay, right. Number 3, let's go on to number 3. That is about the integrative approach. The integrative approach. All right. The word integrative. What can you say about the word? As far as the name is concerned, the word integrative. What can you guess? Oke, sebelum kita melanjut lebih jauh, dari kata integratif tadi kira-kira apa yang bisa Anda terka?
Interconnected, sir.
Yeah.
Good. Interconnected between what and what?
Among the skills.
Skill about what? Skill about what?
What? Pardon, sir?
Skill about what?
The language skill
Okay,
itself, sir.
that is correct. So, Dino ya ini tadi ya?
Yes, Bapak.
Yes, good. So, your answer is correct. What is called by integrative here, it means integrative approach tells us that the language cannot be separated. The language cannot be broken down into several units. The language has to be given integratively without making separation between one element with another element, whether it is in teaching and also in testing. Kalau structuralist approach tadi gambarnya kan begini ini. So every language skill can be broken down to be given, to be taught individually, and also to be tested separately. This is structuralist approach because every component stand alone and it can make up the language. However, the concept of integrative different There is interconnection between every language skill. Speaking, listening, writing, and so on cannot be given alone, but it must be given integratively. It must be given together. Okay, so it is in the area of teaching, and then in the areas of testing, it is also the same. Testing language in context, bukan dalam bentuk kalimat lepas. Beda dengan structuralist tadi, divorce from the context, because it can stand alone. One aspect is testing one aspect, but here in integrative approach, testing language must be in context. Tidak boleh mengeteskan kalimat demi kalimat yang berdiri sendiri seperti hanya multiple choice itu, tetapi dalam konteks mengeteskan bahasa, language must be put in context because it has interconnection. The language skill not only about one aspect, but it is also another aspect of language are included in the context. Okay, this is the meaning. So Dino's answer is correct. There is interconnection. The meaning of integrative is that the interconnection between every components of the language. Okay, and then the integrative approach also believe that the meaning and communicative effect of the discourse are primary concern. So what is focused, what is emphasized is on the meaning and communicativeness rather than on another aspect. It is becoming primary concern. Yang utama dalam teks integratif itu mengeteskan makna, bukan bentuk. Nah, itu. No need to get separate language skill. Tidak perlu untuk memisah-misahkan aspek bahasa. Teskan saja secara keseluruhan. Itu maksudnya. Tests are often designed to assess two or more skills simultaneously. Jadi jangan hanya satu, misalkan. Kalau saya punya tes, misalkan ini, saya kasih contohkan. Pasti Anda benar semua ini. Misalkan ini. I blah 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 going to Surabaya now. The correct one?
B.
And, okay. Pertanyaan saya, what is tested? Apa yang sedang diteskan ini?
Grammar.
Grammar. Aspek apa tentang grammar?
Present continuous.
Present continuous. Nah, dalam hal apa? Lebih khusus lagi.
What we are doing right now.
Aspek present continuous, khusus lagi.
To be, sir.
Iya, penggunaan the use of to be in present continuous in relation with the subject, ya kan? Penggunaan to be hubungannya dengan subjek dalam kalimat present continuous. Adakah aspek lain yang diteskan?
No.
Tidak ada. Inilah one aspect is tested in one element. Kira-kira pendekatannya ini integratif atau structuralist?
Structuralist.
Nah, bagus. Berarti Anda bisa menangkap apa yang saya omongkan sejak tadi itu. This test belongs to structuralist. Why? Because it only tests one aspect. And then there is no context in the word. It is only one sentence away or divorced from the context. Ini bentuknya. Inilah contoh yang namanya multiple choice untuk pendekatan yang structuralist. Kalau itu integratif, bagaimana? Inilah nanti akan kita lihat di contoh-contohnya bukunya Hittens itu atau bukunya Regina dan seterusnya. So once again, the correct form of the appropriate form of the test is not in the form of isolated sentence, default sentence, but it must be in what is here in the context. Ya. Oke, ini bentuknya. Oh sorry. Nah, so the integrative here, the global view of language proficiency menganggap kemampuan kebahasaan seseorang itu secara global. Artinya apa? It is not viewed based on the speaking ability, reading, no, but all of them should be measured. In order to measure all, untuk mengetahui kemampuan bahasa Inggris secara global ini, perlulah tes yang namanya bentuknya seperti close testing itu. Nah, close testing and dictation are used to test. Untuk mengeteskan kemampuan bahasa yang menyeluruh itu, in the integrative approach, usually the form of the test is not in the form of what is here multiple choice, but it is in the form of close test. Ada pernah yang tahu yang namanya close test itu? Ada?
Yes.
Oke. Oke, saya contohkan begini.
Kasihkan teks yang rumpang gitu, Sir.
Yes, good. So there is a context in the form of paragraph or text in which particular word are deleted from the context following a certain interval. For example, oke, silakan. Perhatikan ini. Crossing the blah 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 blah, Anton got on blah 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 this morning. Sorry. Okay, this morning. He blah 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 injured in his hand. It was very blah 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 experience. Please try to fill in the blank. Kira-kira apa? Oke.
Crossing the street.
Oke. Crossing, sorry. Crossing the street, Anton got
An accident.
An accident.
this morning. He
Got injured. Got, sir.
he got injured atau he was injured
He was
in
injured.
his hand. It was very
Tragical.
it is very
Tragical experience. Very bad experience.
it is very terrible experience. Oke. Anda tadi mengisikan yang pertama, number one. Ini, oh, sorry. Oke. Number one. Sorry. Crossing the street. Ini kosakata atau aspek grammar?
Kosakata,
satu.
Bapak.
Kosakata. Vocabulary. We can understand the correct one is street. It is not the grammatical aspect. Then number two. Anton got an accident. Accident. Ini ya spellingnya ya, sorry. Betul? Kosakata apa grammar?
Kosakata.
Kosakata, Bapak.
Kosakata. Oke. Number 3, he got
Grammar, Bapak.
grammar. Oke. Number 4, it was very
Terrible.
Kosakata
terrible.
lagi.
Kosakata
Or maybe
lagi.
it was very apa ya? Apa silakan apa lagi silakan.
Bad.
Okay. So in order to answer correctly here, every learners or testee, kalau saya menyebut testee ada orang yang dites, the testee has to have a kind of knowledge of language, not only one aspect, but it might be more than one aspect. For example, we have vocabulary, and then we have the aspect of grammar at the same time. So in the integrative approach here, tests are often designed to access at least 2 or more skills simultaneously. Okay, this is the example. Contohnya semacam ini. Inilah yang kadang-kadang disebut tes yang berbentuk namanya closed test. Closed test means a test in the form of context in which particular word are deleted following certain interval. Tes dalam bentuk konteks paragraf atau teks penuh yang mana beberapa kata dihilangkan mengikuti interval tertentu. Setiap 3 kata, setiap 5 kata, setiap 6, 7 kata dan seterusnya. The more word interval, the more difficult or the easier. More word interval is more difficult or easier? Which one? Semakin jaraknya kata-katanya yang dihilangkan ini semakin banyak, intervalnya kata-kata semakin banyak, semakin mudah apa semakin sulit kira-kira?
Semakin
Semakin
sulit.
sulit, Bapak.
Semakin sulit. Jadi kata-kata yang dihilangkan semakin banyak, semakin sulit. Dengan kata lain, ini semakin banyak clue, semakin mudah. Silahkan nanti apakah Anda mengembangkan bentuk integratif ini, you try to build up to develop the test following integrative approach or structuralist approach. It depends. Okay. All right. This is the picture of integrative approach. So you cannot separate like this, but you have to think that language is integrative, meaning it must be combined into one. Yeah. And then in order to form the language. Whenever you are testing language, you should not test the language separately, but it must be put in the context. Okay. Question please, ada pertanyaan? Okay. If you have no questions, let's go on. Communicative approach. Okay, communicative approach. Okay. It is almost similar to integrative. Hampir sama dengan integratif. Kira-kira kesamaannya apa? Kira-kira communicative approach.
Menggunakan lebih dari satu skill.
Okay. So whenever you are testing communicative approach, it tests or our test involve not only a single aspect of language. It must be comprises of more than aspect of language. In other words, we are using context. Meaning of utterance is more important than form or structure. Maknanya sama dengan integratif tadi, yang ini meaning juga yang utama. Komunikatif juga sama ini, komunikatif. Nah ini meaning utterance is more important than the form of structure. Different from integratif, hanya aja bedanya. If it communicative, concerned with how language is used in real life. This one, if it is communicative approach here of testing, communicative approach of testing, it tests or the focus of the test concerned with how language is used in real life communication. Let me give you, and then this one, Language use is focus of the test, not language usage. Penggunaan bahasa lebih diutamakan ketimbang bentuk bahasa. Nah, ini. Use tidak sama dengan usage. Use itu how people actually use language for different purposes. Usage is the formal pattern. Kalau usage itu bentuknya. Mari kita tambahkan ini. Rodia, halo Rodia. Rodia,
Yes, sir.
going to see a film tonight? Whenever I am saying to you, Rodia,
Yes,
what
yes,
about
Bapak.
going to see a film tonight?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, good. Okay. Oke, perhatikan ini. Saya mengatakan begini, going to see a film tonight, Rodia mau jawab. Responnya jawabannya ini. It is good idea. Saya tanya, bentuk kalimat saya ini grammatical apa enggak?
Enggak.
No.
Enggak.
Oh,
Enggak. Enggak enggak grammatical sama sekali. Kalau grammaticalnya kan begini.
Are you?
Rodia, what about going to see a film tonight? Kan begitu toh? Atau mungkin saya
Yes.
contohkan lain. Dino, betul. Kira-kira jawabannya Dino apa? Dino, misalkan saya ayahnya Dino. Dino, betul. Betul loh, depan itu ada toko. Apa maksudnya itu?
Saya
Beli rokok.
berangkat membeli rokok, Bapak.
Oke.
Beli rokok.
No, tolong berikan rokok saya di depan toko sebelah rumah itu loh. Namanya rokok gentul. Kalimat lengkap gramatikanya begitu usage-nya. Dino, ayah memberi kamu uang 25.000, tolong berikan ayah rokok bentul di depan rumah. Bentuk gramatikanya begitu. Tetapi itu tidak ditekankan dalam aspek komunikatif. Kurang hebat komunikatifnya itu. Ketimbang ngomong panjang begitu, Dino, come on, bentul please. Nah, kan lebih cekap gitu toh. Nah, sama dengan gitu. Saya mau ngajak Nur Azizah atau itu. Ngajak nonton film. Daripada saya ngomong gedabrus terlalu lama, terlalu gramatikal. Nur Azizah, I have a lot of money today. What about going to see a film tonight with you? Pak Masuki ini kayak ngomong secara formal saja. Udah ngomong aja Mas, gimana? Film? Ya apa? Nah, kan lebih baik begitu. Inilah yang ditekankan. Jadi, we are not focusing on the usage of the language, but we use how we use the language. As long as the testee is able to give the response of the language used correctly, that is, we can say that the testee has the mastery of the language. It means they have communicative competence, can be achieved without mastery of the grammar of the language. Jadi yang diutamakan kemampuan komunikatifnya, bukan penguasaan bentuk bahasanya. Jadi dalam mengetesnya pun seperti ini, it might be wrong grammar, grammarnya sih oke, tidak masalah, asalkan nanti responnya benar. Inilah yang diutamakan dalam bentuk komunikatif testing. So once again, you are not focusing on the grammar, but you are focusing on how to measure the communicative competence. Yang ditekankan adalah komunikasi, kemampuan komunikasinya. Coba saya kasih contoh lain dalam konteks lisan saja. Saya ngomong dengan Pak Rektor, misalkan. Saya ngomong dengan Pak Rektor, atasan saya, pimpinan saya. Fauzan, show me the book. Kira-kira itu accepted atau not accepted?
Not accepted, Bapak.
Not
Absolutely not
accepted.
accepted, sir.
Not accepted. Why? Because it does not fulfill the communicative competence. We are in communicative competence here. We are thinking about what language and then to whom we are using the language. Bahasanya bentuknya kayak apa dalam mempertahankan komunikasi, fungsi komunikasi itu, dan kepada siapa Anda ngomong. Kalau saya ngomong pada Pak Fauzan, rektor saya, Fauzan, show me the book. Saya bisa dipecat langsung dari UNU ini. Pak Masuki, Anda itu orang bahasa kok nggak ngerti unggah-ungguhnya bahasa. Seharusnya apa? Sir, would you please show me the book? Mungkin begitu. That is the aspect of the language we are measuring whenever we are dealing with the communicative language teaching and also communicative language testing. Namanya sama, communicative language teaching and communicative approach of language testing. Namanya sama, hampir mirip tadi dengan grammar translation approach yang pertama tadi. Tetapi intinya sama, whenever we are following or developing a test of developing a test following communicative approach, we focus on the use of the language to measure the communicative competence rather than testing language usage in order to know the form pattern, the formal pattern itu. Jadi tesnya tidak selalu berbentuk formal, tetapi yang diutamakan adalah penggunaan bahasa. Dulu ada film, bintangnya orang-orang Afrika, kemudian pengisi suaranya ya, dubbingnya di Indonesia ini menjadi lucu sekali, tidak komunikatif, karena bahasanya terlalu formal. Maka kurang begitu hebat. Ini sekedar cerita saja. Oke. This is the explanation about communicative approach of testing. So once again, whenever you are developing the test later on, you may also refer to particular approach of testing. Whether you use grammar translation approach of testing, structuralist, integrative, or communicative. However, you have to understand every characteristic of every approach of testing. Do not try to mix. Jangan terlalu menyampurkan. Ikuti salah satu saja. Apakah Anda menggunakan pendekatan yang komunikatif, integratif, atau structuralist? It depends on you. Which one you prefer most? Okay. Alright. Silahkan nanti ini bentuk rubriknya kalau komunikatif itu misalkan learner's listening profile and so on. Nah, ini bisa Anda pelajari sendiri. Baik, saya kira itu yang perlu kita bicarakan pada hari ini. Nanti kita lanjutkan juga, we try to go on the explanation on the principles or the criteria of the instrument, the test, a good test. We try to discuss about the principle along with the criteria of the instrument that is as a test as instrument. Okay. So once again, today, kesimpulannya, the summary of presentation today. Today we discuss about the relationship between testing and the nature of test as the instrument. The test as the instrument here, we try to develop the test as the instrument here, and our test development may follow either one of the language testing approaches, as I told you before here, including the grammar translation approach, essay translation approach, and then structuralist approach, integrative approach, and communicative approach. So as the instrument, the test may rely on the four approaches there. And then our understanding should be extended to some example. You may browse up the internet in order to find what are several types of the tests following every approach as I told you in this Zoom meeting. All right. Thank you very much for today. And I try to distribute the PowerPoint to you. If you have question in the end here, I think we have still around 5 up to 10 minutes to discuss. Any questions?
Me, sir.
Yes, sure.
I just wanna know how to give a test in speaking, because you say that our focus is only on a test, not non-test, just like portfolio before. So how about speaking?
Okay.
Speaking, we cannot write it, right? So it's not paper based.
Okay,
It's
of
just like
course.
product.
Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
how do we make a test in not integrated approach?
Okay. All right. I got the point. Well, very good question. In speaking, of course, it is not written. Of course, if speaking is written, it is not valid. When it is speaking test, of course, the valid one is asking the student, asking the testee in order to speak. Okay, so this is the valid instrument of speaking test. The question is that, what about the form of the test, for example, whenever we are having a kind of speaking test? Of course, speaking can be tested. In other words, there is speaking test in order to measure the speaking skill. So it is not only non-test. For example, asking the student to perform some activities and then you observe the speaking. It can be done like this, but you may also ask the student in order to speak. What type of activities are there in order to arouse the student to speak? Of course, we discuss later with the activities of the speaking. Basically, up to now, we can discuss that the speaking can be tested, not only non-test. Non-test can be used to measure speaking. At the same time, tests can also be used to measure the speaking. In this course, we are not trying to develop non-test for speaking, but we try to develop a test on speaking. What are the form? Bentuknya kayak apa? Tidak sekarang. Nanti lebih khusus lagi ketika Anda mempelajari buku khusus tentang speaking test, apa aktivitasnya di sana ada. Hanya pada tataran ini, in this level, we have to keep in mind that the language evaluation in the aspect of speaking, it can be tested in addition to non-testing instrument, non-test instrument. Itu Mbak Nuraini tadi ya.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So I have to wait for
once again, we can
Mhm.
construct a test of speaking later on. What type of activities are there for speaking test? Of course, we can have several examples. But for the time being here, let's try to understand that measuring language skill can be done through test and non-test. What type of aspect do we have to evaluate through test of speaking? Later on. For example, when you ask the students pronunciation as part of the speaking aspect, for example, of course, you may observe someone speaking whenever they are doing the role play, for example. However, when you try to see the grammatical aspect of speaking, of course, there are several other criteria you can divide. Nanti ada skala kriteria penilaiannya, language profile-nya untuk speaking itu. Ketika speaking itu diteskan, bukan di-non-teskan. Tapi ketika diteskan, kayak apa aktivitasnya? Mari kita tunggu setelah pesan-pesan berikut nanti. Ya. Don't worry about this. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, good. Any more questions? Yeah. So once again, please try to focus. Our goal today is developing a test. Apakah ada untuk speaking? Pasti ada. Tapi jangan dikatakan speaking itu karena performansi hanya diteskan lewat non-test. Atau bisa diukur, maksud saya, bisa diukur dengan non-test. Tidak selalu. Ada aspek yang bisa diteskan. Misalkan comprehensibility. Nah, nanti clarity. Nah, itu ada aspek clarity nanti speaking itu. Nanti bisa apakah lewat tepat secara non tes atau pakai tes. Tuh. Oke, thank you Nuraini. And if you have no more question, I think we still have time to discuss. Ada lagi? If you have no question, I think that is all for today. Let's go on the rest of the explanation about the principle and the criteria of the instrument, the test as instrument. Maybe next week on the what this year on Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Pak Mas Daniar?
Yes, sir. In
Okay,
Friday
thank you.
night.
Yeah.
But the case is next week, next Friday, we will have Traweh, sir.
Sorry?
We will have Traweh, Sholat Traweh, because
Oh iya ya.
yeah, next week will be in Ramadan.
Okay, I think we can hold the class not at night or on the evening, but we can have a class maybe the afternoon. People buka bersama, maksudnya buka puasa ya. Maybe starting at 3 up to 5:30 is much better. While we are waiting for a fasting break, I think we can hold the class. Nanti silahkan disepakati dengan teman-teman di organisasi jam berapa, hari apa, saya ngikuti saja. Yang jelas bukan malam hari. You have to decide the class in the morning or maybe in the afternoon, not at night. Ya, kecuali yang tidak tarawih saja. Saya bisa memahami itu dan saya mohon teman-teman nanti secara bersama-sama menentukan harinya. Okay, thank you, Mas Daniar. I'm waiting the information from you related to the schedule when we are going to hold the class.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for joining me today. Hopefully everybody fine and always keep and stay healthy. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bapak.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
Tapi saya mau bingung.